Okay, this video is about joining a spreadsheet to a geometry file, so working with aggregate data. First, we're going to bring in our shapefile that's going to have the geometry of the area we want to map. Data. Pick US counties. Because this is a zip file, I just want to pick out the one that ends in .shp. It's usually layer ID 0. And we say, oh, okay. And so we have the United States. Now we're going to grab our CSV table. So we're going to limited text. We're going to browse. Chicken total. So this makes sure that no geometry, it's attributes only. There is no latitude, longitude in this. It is just a table of numbers with a county name and an ID number. Add and then close. So we're going to right click on our county shapefile, open our attribute table. When you join a spreadsheet to a geometry file like this county file, one column has to be the same for each, and they need to be unique. So that's usually a GeoID or this AF geoid. I got this from the census, and so this AF geoid is usually in the census files. That's one of their identifiers. You can see, so county, these are not unique. There's more than one. This might be unique, but obviously our state is not unique. Our GeoID will be unique, but we can also see name would not be a good choice because we have several Adaires and several Adams. So QGIS would not know which one, which line of the data belonged to which county. So it wouldn't work. So we can also look at what we have in our chicken file we saw earlier, right? We have county, that matched name. They don't have to have the same field name, but they have to have the same data. You see our GeoID here, this is a number where the other one was on the left side where text is. So that's another thing that must match. You must match text to text and numbers to numbers. So our best bet here is going to be joining with county. And as we saw, county is not a good choice out of the whole US, but we can just narrow this down to only Georgia since our table is only Georgia. So we're going to filter, so right click to filter, and we're going to set a query. So our state FP, so that's our FIPS number. Every state has a 2-digit identifier that's unique, like the GeoID, which is 5. State makes up the first 2 pieces. So equals, and then we always want to get all. And I know that Georgia is number 13. So I double click that. And this way you have the correct punctuation or the quotation marks, double quotation marks or single apostrophes around the numbers. Because this 13 is a text field and not a number. So we can test it to make sure it works. There are 159 counties in Georgia, so this has been successful. So, okay, and now we just have Georgia. So let's zoom in on Georgia. And I'm going to right click again, and I'm going to export this. So export save features as. I only want Georgia. I'm going to make Georgia its own shapefile. So my format is a shapefile. There are others. It's going to default to GeoPackage first. Shapefile. You always want to click the browse button, these 3 dots, to navigate to where you want your data to live. I do have this in a already zipped up for you if this for some reason doesn't work. So save. And we can, if we want to not include all of these fields, we could do that here, but I'm going to leave them alone. So we just say, okay. Now we have just Georgia. So I can remove, right click, remove layer. I like to keep my layer window pretty streamlined. So now we're going to join this table so we can map the information in the table to the geometry files. So we're going to, as soon as I right click again, and we're going to open properties. These are our layer properties. And we're going to go to symbology. Oops, sorry, joins. We're going down to joins first. We have nothing to symbolize yet. So joins. And this is going to look like a whole lot of nothing happening, but you'll have to trust me that things are going on in the background. So we want to click the green arrow or the green plus sign. And we're going to tell what we want to join is the join layer. So this is chicken. It's the only thing up. That's the only thing still there. The field is the one that is going to be in common between in the chicken total layer. So that was, we already discussed, it was going to be county. Oh, and you can see GeoID 2 is listed as a number. And then our target field is the one that matches in this Georgia counties. And we look here, we talked about this GeoID is text. So those two wouldn't match. So we have to do name. The other important thing you want to do is, it probably looks like this. So the custom field name prefix, you want to expand this. Click it to say yes, you want to use it, because it will add this to the beginning of all of the fields. So it gets really hard to look at because you have to scroll or expand all of your fields to find the one you need. So we can delete all of this. So we'll only have the names of the fields in our table as they're named now in our new shapefile that's joined together. So we'll say okay. So it says it joined. I always pick apply if apply is my option, and then okay. So now when we right click on the Georgia counties, and we open the attribute table, we see that all the data from our table has been added to the the attributes of the county shapefile. Okay, so this is not permanently joined together. If my computer was to crash, I'd have to rejoin them together. Or if I wanted to use this joined data in another map later, I'd have to join it again. But we can, like we did the last time with the results of our filter, we can right click, export or save features as shapefile. I always want to browse, and this is going to be my Georgia counties with chicken data. Now we did see that there are a lot of fields on this, and we don't have to keep all of them. We can deselect them all. Let's do some of the sales volume, some of employees, and count. But then we want this ABAQE001. This is a total population. Because we're going to want to normalize our data. And then I would like to know the name of my county. And I'd like to keep the GeoID because you never know what you might want to join to it later. So I've only got those selected. And I can put OK. So we'll right click again, open the attribute table, and you'll see that we only have the attributes that we told it we wanted to keep. So let's get rid of the ones. Well, we might leave this one here. Let's get rid of the table though. That definitely doesn't need to be there. Okay. So now let's symbolize our data. We'll make a choropleth map. So right click again, properties, symbology. Right now it's a single symbol, everything is purple. Click on single symbol, and we're going to bring down to graduated. For our value, everything that's a number is valid, but we can use this E for expression, and that's how we're going to normalize our data or standardize it. Because otherwise, the bigger a county is, the more opportunity there for number of restaurants. But a smaller county might actually really have fewer than this larger, or really have more than this larger county. So we want to balance this out by either usually number of people or area. We don't have. So we're going to start by expanding the fields and values. Or we could do sales volume per restaurant to calculate the average sales. So we double click, and then we divide, and we divide by the count. So this would get us our average sales per restaurant. We could do sales per person. We could do employees per person in the county. So how many are working in chicken? Okay. Rates of my expression. I'm going to pick, this is money, so I like to make, oops. So you get a different option if you click the bar here or you click the arrow. So I'm going to make this greens. And I'm going to use pretty breaks. So it makes nice rounded options. And while I have 5 here, it made 6 because that's what's going to make it pretty. So I will leave that alone. They apply. Okay. So you'll notice that some of these are this green of our counties because they had no data. There were no restaurants or no sales. So they would otherwise be empty. So I can right click on this, go to styles, and make this a quick gray. But there's no data here. Then I just, oops. Pull my hand, pull that back. All right. Now we're going to make our map. So under project, we want to make a new print layout. Give it a name so we can find it later. We want to right click on this big white square to set up our page. To pick that's how we get page properties, which allows us to pick what size page we want. So the default is A4, which is almost at 8.5 by 11. But we'll just go ahead and make this 8.5 by 11. I can draw and this defaults to landscape. I can put my add map. So all these icons down the left side are what we're going to use. So you hold the mouse down and drag it to how you want or where you want the map to sit. If your map is it's always going to be a little bit smaller than what you'd like. So we change the scale to make the map, the map bigger. We have to make the scale smaller. I usually start off just making zeros. We can readjust the content here by using this page with the blue arrows. That will let us grab our map and reposition it. It's going to change the scale for some reason, but now I'm going to add a legend. Hold the mouse down to draw where it will go. So the first thing you want to do to actually be able to edit this legend is to turn off the auto update. This will still update if we were to go back and make a change to our map in the project window. If we wanted to change colors, that would update here, but it won't add more items in our legend. So we can add commas by double clicking, and the blue arrow goes back. So double click. We could have also done this right after when we were in the symbology window and changed our legend there to add these commas. Last one. We could also change this to be more than 2,500,000 or less than 500,000. I also can change, so right now my Georgia counties are all the counties without data. So I can change this to reflect there are no restaurants. Or however you want. We could add a title if we wanted to put, legend. Oops. Yep, so symbols on right, symbols on left. I can also change the name of this. So we can add text. That is the T, or it says add label when you hover over it, but it is all of the different text fields. So your title, your map source, anything you want to add would fall under text. So this is to click font. Is where we're going to make bold. We want to make it larger since this is our title. Oops. Okay. And then I'm going to center it within the box. Put it in the middle, which unless you put a frame around, you wouldn't really notice it's in the middle. You can add a frame. You can change the color of the frame. You could add a background. Right now it's just white, but if you wanted a background color, add scale bar. No matter how big you draw, it defaults to these two. Miles. And I usually like to leave a nice rounded number. It looks more pleasing to me. We could also put a frame around this if we'd like. It's handy that there are already these lines to help guide where you put. So right now, the edge of our text is going to line up with the edge of that frame to help keep your map centered. When we're done, we can export this as an image. So a JPEG or a PNG if we're going to put this in a poster or to paste this into a document, or we could save this as a PDF if it was going to be its own page. So JPEG, I want to put it in the right spot. I see I already had chicken for 10,000 people. Oh. And it's going to have the name of what I gave. what I gave it as the print layout, so that's fine. You want at least 300 DPI. That way you can expand it to about twice the size without it pixelating. And then if you want to see your map, and there we go. So, thank you.